Hey everybody, welcome to Board Game Heaven. Today we're going to have a look at Alien Artifacts, the newest game by Portal Games. This is an engine building card game that plays quite fast, plays in about an hour. It's a game for 2 to 5 players, so let's go ahead and have a look at what is inside the box and how it plays. Okay, Alien Artifacts, a game by Marcin Robka and Viola Kijowska. Let's have a look at what's inside. Already had the shrink wrap taken off. So first we have these 2 punch boards with blockade tokens, a basic defense plan, which is a reference card for all players, and each player also gets this reference card which has your actions on it, and all the, well, here are the actions, all the types of cards there are, icons, what they mean, your resources. So this is a handy reference card in a thick punch board. More of these, and there's also a first player token and a round token. And there's the rule book. A rule book about 15 pages long. It has the contents of the box. It has the setup of the game, the general overview, what everything means, all the icons are explained, the cards are explained, the goal of the game, how it plays, all the actions you can take, the steps that are in the game. Here are all your actions, things you can do, and at the end game trigger and the scoring. And on the back there is a handy summary which you can put on the table as a reference sheet. Okay, now of course we can see that this box has a nice plastic insert, which is great for keeping all your cards. And here is the score track, and you use these wooden discs to keep score of your faction. So they all have different colors. We will see that after this. So here is where you keep score, and this is the round track where you put that black marker you just saw. On the back is some nice artwork. Looks really cool, and it has some UV spots on it as well, so that looks pretty nice. It has a nice kind of plastic finish. So yeah, that looks really well made, and all of these faction cards have that same treatment, so they're a bit rough to the touch. Actually, it's sort of like a plastic. I don't know if you can see that. And the illustrations have this shiny UV finish. So we have 6 factions in the base game, and like I said, if you pre-ordered it you get 2 extras, and their basic actions are all the same, and the backside is also the same, except you have a male and a female version of the people in that faction. So you have the community faction, the bionics faction, the league, the clone clans, the Star Union, and the episcopacy, if I pronounce that correctly. Alright, so we have those, and of course these discs as well to keep track. You can also keep track of your credits. This is your bank, so you have 1 chip here and 1 chip on the score track. Then there's some nice Ziploc bags to keep all your punched tokens in, and these are spots to keep these discs in afterwards. And of course lots of cards, which I'll open up. I've already opened up this one because here each faction has an additional card, which I wanted to show you, because every faction has a few special say abilities, if you will, a special setup. So each faction gets already some cards that are already under construction. As I said, it's an engine building game, so you buy cards first and then you create them or you activate them. And so in the under construction side, which is normally the left side of the board, this is where you put the cards that you bought and once you activate them they go on the right side here. And this says you get one of 2 technology cards and 1 planet on the construction side and 1 spaceship on the operational side. Well, you'll learn all these icons in a bit. And there's an extra action here and end scoring. So this has a different setup and different skill and different end scoring. So each of them has a little bit of a difference, which adds to the replayability. You can switch it up and play a different faction every time. So that's pretty cool. I'll open up the other cards and do a setup of the game and then explain the rules. Okay, let's open up these cards. So, first pack, like I showed you, had these 6 player special abilities. Just pick the one you need, put it near your own faction, somewhere where you can easily read it. And these cards are the alien artifacts. These are powerful cards that you will want to get a hold of during the game. So that's one stack. Then there's these defense plans. So there are different ones, as you can see, and you can upgrade your basic defense plan, which was this token that you got with the game, that everybody basically has, and you can upgrade them later to these. So I'll put these in a stack as well. Well, here are some alien systems. There's not a whole lot of those, but these are also places you can visit. And there's a few of these resources card here. There's more of those, of course. Let's open up this deck. Let's see. Oops. There we go. Indrexus. Looks like a creepy planet. Okay, so lots of planets here. And they're all different. They give you different kinds of boosts, bonuses while building your engine. And they have 2 sides, which I will explain later. And you put your planets in a stack. Then there's these resource cards, very colorful. They have different purposes, and you shuffle those and put them in a stack as well. Let's see. Here are more planets and some ships. If I can grab this here. Yep. Alright. So, more of those planets to discover. There you go. There's are the ships, which have an active side, operational, and a non-operational, a logistics side. So all of them are different. So that forms a stack as well. I'll just put them next to these. And more of these resource cards. So more of those. They go with the rest. And finally, there we go. And this is technology. Yep, all of these are technology. So those also form a stack. And some more ships here. Alright. The setup for alien artifacts is as follows. Each player gets their faction board and their faction card, and all the different factions have their own setup bonus, which is on the card here. This one says I get 4 extra technology cards in my under construction side of the board, which is the left side. It says so here. And on the other side it gives me an extra skill, an extra action, and an end scoring bonus. So I just put that on my card so I can see what it does. Then you shuffle all the decks and you put them on the table. You've got your resources deck, alien systems, alien artifacts, defense plans, technology, ships and planets. Then you put a stack of these blockade tokens where everybody can reach them. You have your reference card, and there's the reference card for the basic defense plan, which everybody may use. Over here you put the scoring sheet and you put the round token on the appropriate round depending on how many players are playing. So in this case, if I were playing with 3 players, I'd put it on number 3. Each player takes their corresponding colors token, puts it on the number 8. This is your bank. These are your credits. So you start out with 8 credits to your name, and you take all the tokens and you put them on the first spot over there. That's the scoring track. The starting player gets the starting player token, so you know who started. And then each player draws 3 resource cards. Now let's talk about these cards for a second. As you see, these cards have different symbols on them. And basically they have 2 sides. They have this side or that side. And you can use only one of them when discarding your cards to pay for something. So you can choose either that or that symbol. It also has a type symbol which will match with those cards. It has special effects, and the number here is used for combat, so it goes up to 4. And as you can see, all these cards have different symbols, and the blue means technology, the red means ships, the green means planet, and this is the wild, which you can use for any of those other 3 colors. The other cards on the table are your alien systems, which are the attacking aliens who are attacking your civilization and all the factions. So you need to attack them back, and the top planet is always revealed. There's alien artifacts that you can find, which is always blind, so you never know what you get, but they always help you. There's defense plans. Every player starts with the basic defense plan, but you can upgrade that with these cards. And there are 3 types of cards that you can buy. There's technology, there's ships, and there's planets. Now on your turn, you can choose from 7 actions, which are also here on this card. And but you can only do one of those actions at a time. So you can see here, you can buy a card, build a ship, develop technology, or discover a planet. Then you can trade resources, remove blockade tokens, and prepare resources. Let's go through these one by one. So first of all, you can buy a card. That means you can buy one of these 3 cards on these stacks. This costs you 5 credits. It's always 5 credits. So you check your bank and you start with 8 credits. So if you want to buy one of those cards, you subtract 5 credits, you're at 3, and you choose which one you want to buy. Now, if there is a certain card on top that you don't like, but you do want a card from that stack, you can pay additional credits to draw additional cards, and then choose one of the cards you've drawn, pick that one, and put the rest back. So if I want a planet, but I don't want that one, then I can spend an extra credit and draw 2. Hopefully I'll get a better one. Maastricht, yeah, that sounds amazing. I'll take that one and put that in my under construction side, because I haven't discovered the planet yet. Put this one back, and then I've bought this card. So I can do the same for the ships and technology as well. And once you buy a card, you put it over here on the left side of your card. It's under construction. Before I talk about other actions, you need to know about the assembly line limit. What does that mean? That means that anytime I want to spend resources on anything, there's an assembly line limit of 2, which means I can only take 2 of the cards from my hand or from the table, should there be resources on my table, and spend them to do that action. I can later use other cards to expand my assembly line to 3 or even higher, and that means that I can use more than 2 cards to activate those actions. Other actions I can do on my turn is discover a planet. What does that mean? If I've already bought planets from the stack for 5 gold, 5 credits, and I want to discover that planet, I need to pay 5 resources of that color, which is in this case green, to discover that planet. And then I check my hand, see how many green icons I have. I have 3 on these cards, but I also have 2 wilds, so together that would make 5, because I can use this for any symbol I want. And then I would discard these 2 cards, and then I could develop this card. And what I do is pick this card up, and I choose whether to develop or discover, in this case, the dark or the light side of this card. And they give you different bonuses. So the light side of a planet always gives you a reduction to the cost of developing something else, in this case technology, which is reduced by 2 symbols. So that's very handy to have. If on the other side I decide to develop the dark side, so this is the operational side of the planet, I get to exploit that planet, I get to get resources from it, and it says produce 3 resources on this planet. So I put this down on this side of my board, and then I draw 3 cards, 1, 2, 3, and then I check which symbols I have and which side of those symbols I want to put on that planet. Now first, I always check the symbol. So this symbol means expansion. So if I have expansion symbols on these resources, then I can choose which side I want to keep. So this one matches, and that means that I can choose to put the technology or the planet resources underneath it. So I've got lots of technology. Let's go for technology. So I put this underneath. Now in this case the symbols don't match, and then I have to put the lowest number of symbols underneath. So that's a shame, because I could have used 3 of these, but I have to put this one underneath this planet. And this one does have a matching symbol, but even if it didn't, it's equal, so then I could choose either side. So first, if it matches, you get to choose. If it doesn't, lowest number. If it's equal, you get to choose as well, even if it doesn't match. So I'll go for technology once more. Something I did not mention is that whenever you match one of these symbols with the card you place them under, you also score a victory point. So in case I really wanted a green side, I could have chosen because the card matches, but I would not have gotten a victory point. But in this case, I chose for the technology side of the resources, so I have this matching symbol and that matching symbol, so I get 2 victory points. Whenever I want to develop something else in the future, I can use these cards, but only with the side that it's showing, to develop those cards, but the assembly limits still apply, so I don't need to use all the cards from my hand. I can also use these cards. Now after all these cards have been spent and been taken from this planet, and I've spent all these on something, then this planet might look useless, but it's not, because on my card here it says mine the planets, which is also an action I can use, which says spend 5 planet resources. Each operational planet in your empire produces 1 resource card. So all the planets in my empire that are on the operational, the dark side, they will produce 1 card, and so I just pull 1 card per planet. I check if the symbol matches. If it does, I get to choose. If it doesn't, lowest value. And if it's equal, I get to choose again. And then you can put it underneath that card again for later use. So to keep producing resources, if I spend 5 planet symbols using this action, mine the planets. If I use this action though, I am only allowed to pay green resources, so no wilds are allowed, and that also goes for this and this action, which I will explain later. I can also build a ship. That also costs me 5 resources, in this case the red symbols of course. So I check my hand again, I see in this case I have 6 ship symbols. My assembly line for building ships is still at the starting 2, so I can spend these 2 cards to build that ship. So then I take the card. once more and I check if I want to deploy the light or the dark side. Now ships always give you an ongoing effect on the logistics side, and in this case it increases my assembly limit for the trade action, which we will discuss later, by 1. This could just as well be the discover a planet action, or the build a ship action, or the develop technology action. So your assembly limit, which means the amount of cards that you can pay for them, increases. The operational side, the dark side of the card, usually gives you a some sort of attack bonus, because when you build this you can use that ship to attack, and the first time you do it you can immediately go on a mission. So what you do is you select if you want to attack an opponent or an alien planet. That's the top planet of that deck, because they're the threat to your star system. And then you again check these numbers. So if I decide to attack the alien system, it says here these 4 numbers, different things happen. So I draw 1 resource card, I check the number, it says number 3, and then I check number 3, my ship is damaged, gain a victory token. And then you resolve that, and then you're done. And then you put this back on the bottom of this deck, and a new one gets turned over. On the other hand, if I choose to attack another player, then that player gets to defend with his basic defense plan, or if he upgraded with an upgraded defense plan. That player first chooses which one he wants to use, and again you draw a card, you compare the numbers. Now it's number 4, it says something, you resolve that, and then that's the end of that turn. Also, building a exploit ship always gets you a building bonus of a defense plan. So when you build an exploit ship, you get to draw 1 defense plan. If your ship has any attack bonuses, then you get to add that to your attack. So sometimes a ship will tell you to add a number to your attack bonus. So if I draw a low number like a 2 or a 3, then I get to add +1 and have a higher hit on the defense plan. Now later on, just like with the planets, I can still use all those operational ships to go on another offensive. Now if I have more ships deployed here and I start an offensive, then I spend 5 of these symbols again, so I spend 5 resources, red ones, and then all operational ships in my empire may immediately attack an alien system or one player's empire. So the same thing happens, goes for only the operational ships, not the logistic ships. And then I choose whether to attack an alien system or an opponent, and then I resolve my attack for each of the ships individually. So I draw 1 card for the first ship, resolve it, draw another card for the second ship, resolve it, adding any bonuses. These bonuses do not stack, they are individually added to each ship. Now finally, I can also build or develop technology, and it's always the same. You pay 5 technology symbols, so I'd have to see if I had enough of those. So let's say I had these in my hand and I had 5 technology symbols. I get my limit is again still 2 because I haven't increased it yet. I get to play 2 cards, and then I choose one of these cards that are available to me. Let's say I choose this one, and then I pick the side I want to develop, and I put it on the right side into my empire. Now again, the light side will give you an ongoing bonus, which is always different for technology cards, so you have to read the cards to know what it does. And when you start an offensive, in this case you get a victory point and 3 credits, which is very nice. And the other side always gives you some form of victory points. Now how does that work? Now there are certain conditions that you need to meet in order to score victory points during the game and during the end game. Now during the game, in this case I get a victory point if I own 4 planets. I get 2 victory points if I get 4 operational planets, which is the dark side, and I get 3 victory points if I have 4 operational planets of a different type. These are the types. So 4 different symbols, and I score 3. At the end of the game, then I score additional points for that. So the first time I activate a operational side of technology, I get to do that, and I get to see, do I match one of these criteria, and then I score points on the track. And if I don't score points, of course. So it's always a good idea to play this card at a point in the game where you can actually score for them. But after you have played them, like with all the cards, once they're here and they're operational, I can always use this action to score again. In this case it's called gain revenue. Spend 5 technology resources, draw and reveal 1 resource card for each operational technology card in my empire. So each each dark side technology, I draw a card, and if the symbol on that card matches that symbol, I get to score again. So in this case, sadly, I don't get to score, but had I drawn one of these symbols, then again I can check these conditions and score points. For each card that is already in your empire, your building cost increases by the number of cards over there. So that means if I wanted to build another ship, I bought another ship and I want to build it, I don't get to spend 5 red ships to build it, I have to spend 6. So it's important to increase your assembly line as you go, because at some point you'll have lots of cards lying here and it will get more expensive. So you might need to discard more than 2 cards to actually activate them. Other actions I can do is trade resources, remove blockades, or prepare resources. Let's see what those do. So first I'll start with preparing resources. What does that mean? That means if I want to build something later on, say I've got lots of cards here and I've got some over there, and I need more resources to pay for those cards, because there's already a lot of cards lying here and I need to pay more and I can't afford them all, then I can add cards from my hand to these cards, which I can use for free to pay for them, and they don't count towards my assembly line. They do count right now, so if I want to put cards, say, underneath the ship, so I want to be able to build that ship later on, but there's already 2 of them there. I don't have anything that reduces building a ship, so I would have to pay 7 right now, 5 for the base cost plus 2. And I thought, well, okay, let's prepare resources. Then I take the maximum assembly number of cards, or up to, and in this case it's 2, and I take the red resources and I put them underneath my ship, and that is my action for that turn. Now in the other turn, when I want to build that, and again I have some cards on my hand, say I have these cards, then and I wanted to build that ship, then I would need 7 resources. Well, I don't have that, and my hand limit is still 2, my assembly line. So I would in this case only be able to pay this 1 card, but I could take those 2 for free, add them to my resources, and then I have plenty. I've got 8, so that's enough to build this ship, and then I choose again light side or dark side, and I put it in my empire. There's also something called automatic construction. Say I had this planet that reduces the cost of building ships, and I wanted to build that, and I also had a ship which had these prepared resources from a previous turn, and I want to build that planet. I check how much that cost me. That cost me 5 green resources plus 1, which is 6. My assembly line limit is 2. With these 2 cards I would be able to buy that planet, to discover that planet. So I take it, I decide which side I want. In this case I want that side, because this will reduce the cost of building a ship by 2. I put it in my empire, and now all of a sudden this ship can be constructed, because this costs me 7, 5 plus 2. I already have 5 here. I've got a reduction of 2 because I just discovered Vesuvius. That means that this ship will now get automatically constructed. And then I can choose the light side or the dark side, put it in my empire, and just discard these 2 cards. Another action I can do is trade resources. So if I have a hand and I don't have anything to do, and I don't have enough resources to pay for developing any of these, or I don't know, and I just want to get some credits back, maybe I'm low on credits, then I could exchange my resources for credits. Then I check my assembly line, usually it's 2, but maybe I have this ship on the logistics side, which increases my assembly limit for trade actions by 1, which would have been handy in this case, because then I can use 3 cards instead of 2 to trade for credits, which would give me 8 credits. So I discard all 3, I take 8 credits, brings me to 9, and that is my action. And a final action I can take is to remove blockades. Now, how do you get blockades? Sometimes when you're attacked, the defense plan tells the attacker to place blockade tokens on any defender card. So in this case, my attacker, if he attacked me and he drew a 2 or 3 or a 4, I'd get blockade tokens, and they would put them on certain cards of mine, and I wouldn't be able to use them because they've blocked them with their ships. So if I want to get rid of those, I need to spend an action to remove blockade tokens. Now, how does that work? For every 2 matching resources of the color of the card, I get to remove a blockade. So if this was my hand, I could spend 2 red to remove these. Now I can only remove of 1 blockades in a single color. So if these were all blocked, I could spend 6, or it would be far too many. I could spend 5 in this case, and I could remove both of these. I can't spend, for example, these 2 on the planet and these on the ship and remove those 2. I need to pick 1, but I could use these 2 to remove just that one, and that's how that works. So those were the actions, and after you've done one action and you've resolved everything, you've discarded your cards, then you draw up to 3 new cards, and that's your new hand, and then the next player starts his round. Whenever the resources deck is emptied, you reshuffle the entire deck, you put this token 1 spot to the right, and you start again. Once you're at the last round and the deck is empty, then the end game triggers. That means you shuffle this again, put him back, you end the round until you are at the last player, the first player has already played, and then you score again, and that's the end of the game, and you count up your victory points, and the player with the most victory points wins. If it's a tie, then the player with the most credits in the bank wins, and even if that is a tie, then you both win and you've both restored peace to the galaxy and you can rejoice. If you get an alien artifact card and you can keep it on your hand, you could instantly use it and just resolve its effect, like gain 15 credits or draw 4 technology, choose one, add it under your construction area. So there's lots of stuff that these cards can do. You can keep them and use them anytime you want. It does not cause an extra action, and once they're used, they're discarded and they don't return to the game. Okay, so in my opinion, this is a very cool, very thematic engine building game. It has lots and lots and lots of choices. There are many actions you can choose from, so there's always something you can do. And it plays quite fast. If you've played it once, you need to get used to all the text and all the things that you can do. But once you get a hang of that, it's like, okay, I'm gonna do this next, and I'm gonna do that next person. So it goes very swiftly, which keeps the pace in the game. That's rather nice. It has great artwork. I really love the artwork. It's very colorful, it's very thematic. I like the fact that you can build ships and attack with them, or use them to develop, to increase your assembly limit. You use them as a sort of like a factory facility. You've got your technology that you can use for bonuses or for victory points. You've got your planets that give you resources, making stuff cheaper to buy or to develop, or you can use them as a source for resources. So there's lots and lots of choice to do on your turn, and I think, well, yeah, it's certainly worth trying. So I'm giving this game a big thumbs up. And that was Alien Artifacts by Portal Games. If you're interested in this game, go check their website. They still have pre-orders available for Spiel Essen if you're in time to go there this year. You'll also get a few extra promo cards with it. And otherwise just visit their stand at Spiel Essen and they will explain the game to you and you can try it out. Well, that's it. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. Please subscribe and see you next time on Board Game Heaven.